What's so fascinating about Lucian's work, and I think why people are so engaged with his painting, is also the stories that come with it. People are as fascinated with his life as they are with his paintings. They are forever interwoven, and I think that rich tapestry, especially when it comes to an enduring friendship like you have here between two iconic and defining figures of the 20th century, Lucian Freud and the late Dowager Duchess of Devonshire, that heightens the magic for painting.
Sotheby's is the temporary custodian of some of the world's most rare, remarkable and coveted art and objects. In each episode, we'll be exploring the significance and journey of an extraordinary work told by those who know it best. This is The Specialist. On today's episode, the story of 4 Eggs on a Plate, a small but powerful painting by Lucian Freud. Hidden away for years at Chatsworth, a landmark of British heritage renowned for its art and landscape, and cared for since 1981 by the Chatsworth House Trust. It went on to become one of the surprises of the Contemporary Art Evening Auction in 2015. Tom Eddison is head of contemporary art in London and a champion of British art on the international stage. He is particularly recognised for his expertise in artists such as Lucian Freud and Francis Bacon. Let's join Tom now with more.
So Chatsworth is located in Derbyshire. It's really one of the foremost historic houses in the United Kingdom, and it is home to an art collection that has continually evolved since the 16th century. The Devonshire family, they have commissioned and collected works of art by artists that display the tastes of each generation. I think there is a continued and deliberate effort to modernize and engage with people and showcase the seamless interaction between old and new. And I think that's incredibly invigorating and exciting to witness and see when you walk into the house. What makes Chatsworth so incredibly special is the art collection that it houses. It contains over, I think it's 30,000 works of art accumulated over like 500 years. The house is a masterpiece in itself. It was redesigned in the Baroque period in the 17th century. So the interiors and the artworks are integrated. It's sort of a living museum, and it goes without saying it really is one of the very best collections in the world, from old masters, antiquity to modern day. On a personal level, like one of those most extraordinary stories, even within this like incredibly rich tapestry of artists and artworks, is the relationship between the Devonshire family and Lucian Freud. When the 11th Duke of Devonshire, Andrew, and his wife, Deborah, known as Debo, moved into the house in the early 50s, Lucian Freud was the very first guest. From then on, Freud would become a regular guest, and he would stay for long periods of time, painting murals in the house, and of course a number of family portraits, including one of Debo herself, which is called Woman in a White Shirt from 1956. Freud, the young artist, was building a reputation with this sort of raw, unflinching honesty. And when the painting was revealed, it caused quite a stir. 60, 70 years later now, we see Woman in a White Shirt, and it's probably one of the most beautiful paintings at Chatsworth. And I think it distills the essence of what Freud was looking for as a painter. He was determined to paint something that had more depth than just a likeness. Debo herself really was an extraordinary person. She really dedicated her life to the stewardship of Chatsworth House as we know it today. It's well known that she had this incredible passion, and that was chickens. There's many photographs of her amidst the sea of chickens at Chatsworth. Over the course of this like incredibly colourful and rich life, Debo became incredibly firm friends with some of the more influential characters of the 20th century, not least this incredibly close bond with Lucian Freud. What's fascinating about this specific relationship is Freud's extraordinarily turbulent life in many ways. Countless friends would come and go, in and out, but I think his bond with Debo remains really a rare constant throughout. I think he probably found a kindred spirit and someone who could match his boundless and legendary energy and eccentricity and vitality for life. So the relationship between Sotheby's and Chatsworth really goes back to the middle of last century. The 11th Duke partnered with Sotheby's to sell a number of artworks and books and valuables, and they kick-started our relationship with the family and the house. I think trust is key to every relationship that we engage in, be it with a collector of one painting or an institution like Chatsworth, which is so multifaceted, so rich and layered in history and depth of scholarship and quality. That trust is the same in every instance. It is a privilege to be able to work with places like Chatsworth. It is constantly evolving. I remember when I started at Sotheby's as a fresh and eager intern, I started a week after the Chatsworth attic sale, which is in the end of 2010. And the whole company was like afresh and still living on the adrenaline of that sale. When I had the opportunity to go up and see these works in person in a more intimate setting when no one else was there, was really extraordinary. So I was aware pretty early on about the relationship, but it was several years later before I got my own taste of the magic. So in January 2015, I was asked to travel up to Chatsworth to value several works of art that were owned by the late Dowager Duchess of Devonshire, who had passed the year before. It was this sort of magical ride through the snow-filled fields of the Derwent Valley, and the house emerges through the valley in this extraordinary edifice. The Baroque building stands there in all its glory with the gold gilded windows shining against the snow. It was quite a sight, I have to say. The house was actually closed to the public. So I had this like extraordinary private tour. I was inspecting and looking at condition and all the things that we do as specialists when we are entrusted to do evaluation. And there was one artwork that was left to find and to inspect. Tucked away in the corner was this very simple blue cardboard box. And in it was a bundle of white cloth and a note which read, "Box and rag he uses in his studio, containing the painting of 4 eggs given me by Lucian Freud." And it's signed 2002 DD. And that was Deborah Devonshire. As I carefully unwrapped the cloth, emerged barely bigger than a postcard, this exquisite painting. I think as I held it in my hands, it became quickly apparent that this was far more than just a still life painting. It was a vivid symbol of a lifelong bond between artist and patron, and really the summation of a friendship forged over decades. And it is an incredible story. Deborah, every time she came to London, she would take some of her eggs from her chickens down to Lucian and leave them on his doorstep. And this is Lucian's reciprocal gift, really a heartfelt token of shared memories. Freud had painted this in 2002. And when it really is to scale 1-to-1, it may be small, but it's a painting of extraordinary power. Freud's turned this really simple still life into something emotionally charged, visually intense, and it displays all the scrutiny Freud reserves for his human subjects. Each egg is treated with incredible attention. The surface, the color, the texture, every brushstroke is deeply considered. It's showing him at his technical best, also at his most tender, masterwork in miniature. It was Martin Gayford, the art critic, who felt that each egg had its own distinct personality. He treated each egg as an individual. So in a way, it's a group portrait. He transforms the subject into something incredibly powerful, like this small window into him as an artist, but also a window specifically with this instance into a personal relationship, an enduring friendship between these two extraordinary figures. I think what makes 4 Eggs on a Plate so special is that story of ownership. It's imbued with that long-standing trust and friendship and patronage between Freud and the collector. And it is in many ways legendary, but because that relationship was deeply private, actually not that much was known publicly. And for us, it was a meaningful opportunity to tell that story carefully and collaboratively, and also with great sensitivity. When that history is thoughtfully and respectfully shared, it really deepens the understanding of the works and creates a more profound connection with collectors, institutions, and audiences alike. We've had a deep experience and a strong, long record of shaping these kinds of narratives because we are so passionate about the artist. It does remind us that the intensity of an artist's genius is really this human connection. It's full of warmth, it's full of humor, shared moments, much like that simple, humble act of putting some eggs on a doorstep.
Thank you for joining us on The Specialist. This has been brought to you by Sotheby's Financial Services. SFS offers asset-based loans to unlock the value of your fine art, automobiles, and other luxury collectibles. To step further into the world of Sotheby's, visit any one of our galleries, which are open to the public. Go to sotheby's.com to find out more.